Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone. It being 5 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. I'd like to acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 land and the home in the Métis, and I'll ask everyone to rise and the city clerk to say the prayer.
O God, let us each in our own way ask your wisdom and guidance in our deliberations. Help us to incorporate into all our decisions those values which will enable us to fulfill our mission, to act as responsible stewards, and to respect and value the cultural and spiritual tradition of all citizens of the City of Prince Albert. For this we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Number 3, approval of the agenda. Councillor Miller.
Thank you. That the agenda for this meeting be approved as presented and presentations, delegations, speakers listed on the agenda be heard for when they're called forward by the mayor.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Zapp.
I second.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Presentations, we have none. Declaration of conflict of interest, we all understand what that is. If you have an item, you declare it and give the form to the city clerk. Number 6, adoption of the minutes from January 26, 2024. What did I say? 26, sorry. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'll move that the minutes of the council regular meeting held January 22nd, 2024 be taken as read and adopted.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cody.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Question is now open. And carried. Notice of proclamations, I only have one, and that's 7.1, Wear Red, Canada Day, February 13th, 2024. Number 8, public hearings, we have none. Number 9, delegations, we have none today. Number 10, communications, we have none. Number 11, reports of administration and committees. 11.1, development permit application, child care center. Oh, sorry. Councillor Edwards. Sorry.
Thanks, Your Worship. I think you missed a declaration of conflict of interest.
Okay.
And I'm going to declare a conflict of interest today on item 11.2. The Recreations Facility Grant Program mentions Carlton Park receiving some money, and
Okay.
I'm on the board of Carlton Park, so I will be excusing myself for that conversation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm back to item 11.1, development permit, child care center. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll move that the discretionary use development permit application for a child care center for up to 38 children located at 215 12th Street West be approved, that the provision of 4 required off-site parking spaces be approved subject to the submission of a finalized off-site parking agreement, and that the off-site parking agreement be registered on the title of the subject property located at 215 12th Street West, Prince Albert.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Miller.
I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, I don't see anyone. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Thank you. 11.2, 2023 Recreation Facility Grant Program, second intake. This is where you're excusing yourself, Councillor. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the Carlton Park Community Club receive $5,000
$446.80 for painting of the hall, repair to water heater, and repair of the lights in the hall. That East End Community Club received $6,999.45 for replacement of the brine pump in the curling rink. 3, that West Hill Community Club received $697.10 for upgrading both interior and exterior lighting to LED fixtures. And 4, that Crescent Heights Community Club received $6,528.20 for the replacement of their score clock.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Solomon?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion? Councillor Kilmer?
Thank you. My question is for the Director of Community Services. I just wanted another reminder about how we budget for this particular item and how it's distributed.
Go ahead, Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. To Councillor Kilmer's inquiry. So each year, under the policy and through our budget process, we set aside $20,000 that goes into the Community Services Building Reserve, dedicated specifically to the rec facility grant program, and that is shared 50-50 with the community club for each project.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Question is now open and carried. Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Edwards coming in. I got him. So. Well, why is Jeff with it? No, yes. Yes, okay. Okay. Okay, 11.4, update funding model Aquatic and Arena Center project, January of '24.
No, you missed the community grant accessible.
Oh, sorry. I checked that off. Okay, we're back to 11.3, community grant accessibility swim program. Councillor Zepp?
I move that the Community Grant Accessible Swim Program be approved for a trial period during the 2024 Kinsman Water Park season.
Thank you. Seconder? Oop. Councillor Kilmer?
I'll second it, and I have a question.
Okay,
If I c- if
just
that's
hang on.
fine.
I see she still has her light on, so, oop. Okay, you're up.
My question is for the Director of Community Services. I see in this program that if it carries today, there's an April 15th deadline for groups that are interested in participating in this swim. And I just wanted to know when we anticipate it to be on the website for community groups to access it.
Director?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Dion. To Councillor Kilmer's inquiry. So upon approval this evening, we'll be working with the communications department to have that out as soon as possible. So there's multiple channels we do that. We'll also be contacting, we have a listing of community organizations in Prince Albert as well. So it's another method in which we can communicate with them directly in the event that they don't see the public communication that goes out.
Oh, thank you very much.
Councillor Zepp?
Also a question for the Director. I understand this program started with a letter that was received by City Council from a specific organization. I think it was the PA Safe Shelter. Do we, as a matter of our communication, if this passes, do we communicate back to that originating group to tell them how this has transpired?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Lennox. Certainly. So we've kept them in the loop through the review process to this point as well, and we'll also make them aware directly of the application process, and also would be willing to assist if they have any questions through the application process.
And did that organization have any comments as we've been going through the process?
Not yet. Just a matter of, I think they're pleased that it was under review, and I think we'll be pleased that we'd be moving forward with this trial.
Thank you. Just a comment. I appreciate the answers. This is a creative solution to a question from an organization who what they requested of us were passes, swim passes that they could hand out to families who utilize the PA Safe Shelter. This is different than that request. What this is a program where organizations in our city would pay up front for the admission for the families to attend to our Kinsman Water Park, and then they could submit those receipts for reimbursement later. And then if it was approved through our community grant program, then they would be reimbursed. So it is different than the request. It does take legwork of an organization, and I understand that. I do support this as a step forward, and it's a creative step forward because we do receive funds from the province for the community grant program, and so this is a new and unique way of using those funds.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Question is now open. And carried. Thank you. Now I'm moving ahead. 11.4, update funding model for aquatic and arena rink project. Councillor Cody.
Yes, Your Worship, I will move that the revised funding model for the Aquatic and Arenas Recreation Center project be approved. And number two, that the administration proceed with a request for proposal for borrowing $18 million to assist with the fluctuation of the city's cash flow between the project cost payments and the receipt of fundraising revenue over the next 5 years. And number three, that a bylaw to provide for the creation of debt not payable within the current year be forwarded to City Council for consideration. And four, that the administration be authorized to proceed with public notice for the short-term debt bylaw.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Edwards?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Comments? Councillor Zepp?
Proceeding on borrowing an additional $18 million for this project. So I took a look at our budget books from this past November to look at what did we as a council, mere months ago, what did we budget to pay for interest on our current loans just for this project alone. So we originated with a $16 million loan, is how we began this project. And then motion came back to council, subsequently asking for another $30 million loan for a total of $46 million in loan for this project. And so for this 2024 year, I don't know if anyone else recalls the amount that we paid for interest, but it was $1.8 million of interest that we budgeted for as a city, just for interest. That's not a piece of lumber in the ground. That's not an hour of labor. That's just the interest we're currently paying for 1 year only. It would be financially irresponsible of us as a city to incur a further $18 million loan on this project. I am concerned that we as a city council have also paid $700,000 to a company to do philanthropic work, to find sponsorship. We've paid that, we've budgeted and paid for that work to be done. It also needs to be noted that we as a city council have already committed $4 million for architecture work for a 4,500 seat event center. That's not the project that this $1.8 million of interest is for, of course, but we have committed an additional $4 million. That's just the architectural work, and we have absolutely no financial capacity, no plan to pay for and to build that 4,500 seat event center. So a major concern here, it would absolutely be financially irresponsible of us to incur more millions onto this debt, and we have no capacity to pay for it. And so it is obvious that we would put a hold on this project until we are in a position that we are able to pay for it. So those are my comments, and I look forward to hearing other comments around the room.
Okay, I'm going to start. Go on. What this is for, it's for the people, to help the people out that's donating to help fund this arena. These are our business leaders, our community leaders that are stepping forward and going to donate to us millions of dollars towards this project that they support as a positive. But they've asked us, we're gonna give you $1 million, but can we pay you over the next 5 years? And that's our standard. So if we could get all the money up front, we'd be in a position. That's why this loan is only for 5 years, not like the rest of the loans for 30. This loan is only for 5 years to help us raise the money to finish paying off these projects. So that's why I support it. And for the amount, if the fundraising group comes through and raises the 50 million, as they mentioned, the amount that we pay in them is pretty cheap. So with that, I'll go to Councillor Bodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple comments. As you mentioned, the funds, when a group is going to give money, it is over 5 years. And so if we would get all that money this year, we wouldn't have to borrow this $18 million. That's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so this money is not coming out of city taxpayers, because this money is going to come out of people that are donating money to this project. And that's what this is. To stop the project right now would be irresponsible. Totally irresponsible. You can't stop a project. It's a year away from opening, and we want to stop and give up on it? No. This is the responsible thing to do, is we need to follow through on this. Yes, it was over budget of $118 million. Well, I mean, from what we originally looked at, okay, when we originally approved the project. Paying the money for 4,500 seats entertainment center is what it is again, us as a city being proactive, responsible, so that when a loan or when a government program comes out, we already have the plans in place and we can get the money and get going on building phase 2 of this 3-phase project in the R district. And that's what we have to remember. It's 3 phases. We agreed to that, to these 3 phases of this project. And so we're planning phase 2. Once we get phase 2 going and we get the funding for that, then we'll plan phase 3. And then when money comes available, then we'll do that. And that's how we have to work. We can't do everything all at once. To get anything done, any big project done, you have to borrow money. You know, you buy a house, you have to take out a loan. You know, you take out a loan, you know, you're paying double the cost if you had the money right up front to pay for that house. A lot of that money is interest. And that's how our system works. And so it isn't irresponsible, as you suggest, Councillor. As I said, it would be irresponsible to stop the project right now when we're a year away from opening and operating this great facility that I'm sure anybody that has children will be using it a lot. The water park, etc. I mean, people are going to be using it. We're going to have during the day where we can have aqua-size classes. We have so many complaints about there's no time for swimming pool time for aqua-size and all these activities. Once we own our own facility during the day, that's what we'll be able to do. So to stop it and then to delay those kinds of programs and activities that the public want would be irresponsible. And so I will vote in favor of this motion. I don't like that we have to borrow more money, but I understand why we have to, because as I said earlier and as the mayor said, that we have the money committed from people. We just don't have it all in 1 year. It's over 5 years. And that was maybe an oversight on my part when we looked at that funding model. And but I think it's still a good project and a good idea and a good, this motion is good and it's being responsible. So thank you.
Councillor Head.
I'll wait till I was, Councillor Big Man was ahead of me, so I'll wait till after.
Well, the queue doesn't say that, though.
Oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
Well, hang on. Let me shift it again. Okay, can you shut your light off for a minute? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I will be supporting this motion. We have no choice. We've got buildings being built in progress but let's halt it and let the work sit still. Well, that's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We're not over $118 million. The whole project was $118 million.
Right.
Yes, it went up. Inflation went up. Look at the hospital that we just saw the numbers. What was it? $350 million initial budget, come out at $900 million. So what did we expect? I mean, yes, we were already into it, and then we saw further inflation. This is a good project for the city. We're going to see economic spin-off for our city. How many families do you know that have gone down the road every year taking their family to Melfort Wave Pool? Well, I have almost every year. Why? Because we don't have a wave pool. We don't have that type of facility. So here we are building a beautiful building that people will utilize for a lot of years. 2 new arenas that we need. We have old arenas. They're all over 50 years. So let's just sit and wait 10 more years to see if the cost is going to go down. Guess what? Highly unlikely it's going to go down. I can't imagine. I haven't seen much in this world go down. So, but let's wait. Let's stop the project right now, as some suggest. Or maybe that's what is wanted. Let's stop it. And I see, people allowing discussions on social media about Lacole Falls. Well, let's stop this. And then maybe you get your wish come true. Like, give me a break. This isn't Lacole Falls. The comparison to that is absolutely ridiculous. We have a limitation of swimming lessons, as the councillor says. But let's not move forward with it. Inflation is big. We know it. We have to deal with it. Unfortunately, this motion here was reported wrong. It talked about a lack of fundraising in the media. Well, this isn't what this is about. It's not a lack of fundraising. This is about the need to allow businesses to finance their funding over 5 years. That's what it's about. It's not a lack. We haven't come out with any numbers in fundraising. I don't even know how some of the numbers have been reported on social media that some of us allow to report wrong information. That to me is wrong. Get the facts straight. This is not about an increased price of $18 million. But again, unfortunately, the media reported that it was about lack of funding. Well, that was an error on their part. But it let the community run wild on being social media warriors that people are without knowing the facts. You want the facts? Call a city councillor. My phone number, 306-961-2921. Call anytime. Those of you who are watching, call for some facts. Because this is just getting crazy. This is a magnificent facility that we're going to see awesome economic spin-off from. Tournaments are going to come here because guess what? We have new facilities. We have new rinks. Warman, Saskatchewan has lineups for their tournaments regularly. Why? New facility. And they're going to get another one. They're going to build another one. Guess what? I wouldn't mind those wait lists. That'll be a good thing for years to come. But let's just sit. Let's wait 10 more years and see if the cost goes down.
Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thought I should make a few comments on this motion. And I hear some of the comments from the other councillors, over budget. I don't want that I have to borrow the money. We have no choice. I hear oversights, and that's what I see in this report. This report talks about, the facts are that this build is costing us more and more every single year, every month that this project goes on. That is the facts.
No, I'm going to challenge you on that. That is not the facts.
So looking at the report, we're at an all-time high of 117 million today when that wasn't what the initial ask was. So looking at this cost, I'm looking at the report. Says here, Borrowing for cash. This is primarily due to the original inaccurate reporting of the architect design cost, contingency, and PST calculations. And then it also states that the original funding model has included 100% of this $20 million to be received in 2024. However, with only $6 million to be received in 2024. So that's a huge oversight, in my opinion. How did we go from expecting $20 million to $6 million? And that's the reason why we're borrowing this money, is apparently. And I get it, you're saying that,
Okay, I'll correct you. The 20 million is committed to fundraising, and they're only willing to pay 6 this year, 6 next year, 6 the next. That's how it adds up.
I get that, but the report says that we were expecting 20 million. So that's what I'm just going by what the report had said. So there was some misreporting from possibly the company, possibly administration, possibly what was understood in this chambers. Because that's not what we were told. And then I see in the report that there's 14 reasons why we need to borrow this money. I mean, to me, this project, it doesn't seem to end. This isn't going to be the last time we ask for money on this one. And already, we have people from the public here that aren't on the agenda, but are also concerned about what the outcome of this motion is today. You know, we went through budgeting very diligently, I have to say. It was difficult. We had to come to terms of a dollar amount and raising taxes because we couldn't find a way around it. The budget was tight, and we fought for every dime. And that the idea that we're going to take out another $18 million loan is very, I don't even know the right words for it, but is astronomical to ask for that amount in this chamber. We thought we were going to get a donation of $20 million, but we're only getting $6 million. That's a huge oversight. And yes, it's going to come in years and waves, but how can we guarantee that that's going to come in the next year? Then we're going to pay off these loans with donations. What if those donations don't come in? Are we going to tell residents in 3 years that we're on the hook for that they're on the hook for that $18 million now? I'm just really worried that we stopped representing people and we're only representing a project. I'm not a rich man. Like most of the residents of this community, mortgage has gone up. Kids are going to university. People are struggling for groceries. These costs will come back to the residents. We have an election at the end of this year. Maybe this needs to be on the ballot because I'm not sure that we have the right to keep making decisions about these astronomical sums of money without public input. Is there a possibility to slow this project down? Is there a way to manipulate the project so we can catch our breath? What happens if we don't get this $18 million loan? That's a question of administration. What happens if we just say no today to it? What if we wait for the donations that we're sure are coming in? Are we on an unstoppable train here? What does it look like when the city goes bankrupt? Those are questions I have for the city.
Okay, you're out of order now. Sit down. You're out of order.
I also have a comment. What about our wastewater treatment plant? None of this was even considered. We're going to come up to the ceiling price of our borrowing amounts at $120 million. What did you guys produce? $118 million will be. We have $2 million left for room. What about our wastewater treatment plant that we have to borrow monies for? That is also on that is coming down.
Order.
So anyway, those are my comments. I guess the question to the city: what happens if we don't get this $18 million? Question to the city manager.
Well, it's hypothetical. You can just say you're going to get it. It's a hypothetical question.
Or to the mayor, whoever wants to answer that, I guess. What happens if we don't get this $18 million?
Well, we'll answer that if it happens. You're being hypothetical. So far, there's only 2 of you that got up and barked, and let's see what the rest do.
I'll answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
So if city council decides not to approve the $18 million today loan, we would have to go back to the drawing board to find the $18 million somewhere in the system to allow for our cash flow. That would have to happen before the end of the year. So we would just have to come up with another solution to the situation, bring it forward to city council for consideration. That's what would happen.
Thank you, City Manager.
Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. I am excited to move forward with this project. At all of the meetings that I have attended through the entire process of the time that I've been on council, it absolutely has been a moving target and differences in wording and people this and people that, right? And what I appreciate about the entire journey is it's just exactly like if you were building a house, or I haven't been lucky enough to build a house, but bought a house and redid a kitchen, and through my drawings and different things, a variety of items came up. I like the idea and the fundraising part, or the idea of, because the fundraising model that was agreed to, that we originally heard, we were not part of the fundraising group, was an amount. And I too thought, oh my goodness, they're gonna raise it just like, you know, we used to do fundraising at school, was able to raise it, but I should have thought about that and recognized that it would take over a period of time. And in this, with this loan, it is coming from the fundraising group, from the fundraising itself, to carry us over during the fundraising so that the business community and the people that are supporting this project, I being one of them, and many, many residents who will use it for 50 years and their families are supporting it as well. So I appreciate that part of thinking about that the city manager and city administration came up with, helping us to bridge, as a solution to bridge that gap. Thank you. What I also appreciate in this document, and most of all, is that we couldn't, just like my kitchen, getting back to that, I couldn't put my finger on everything exactly all of the time, right? I didn't have the exact dollars. And they spent, in this report, I appreciate the transparency, the looking at the documents that were given to us as it keeps coming along, and they are continually looking at it to make sure that we are understanding exactly where the dollars are. I remember sitting through meetings looking for savings to bring the costs down, and during those meetings that we were, most people were there, that we looked for cost savings, and we found out in this document that not all those cost savings could occur, right? They tried their best to get them, they couldn't occur. So they went through this document, and I encourage all residents to read this document. Here was the assumption that we made, and here's the actual where we're at now. So I will be supporting this and encourage others to continue this project. It will get done, it's being done on time, and it's being done within budget. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Browning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify a few points, you know, fight the election on this. We already fought one election on this, and the 5 of us at that time that supported this project all got reelected. The main person that fought against this project, Councillor Head, you defeated him. And so we already fought this election, or fought an election on this project. And the community overwhelmingly supported us, and that we're in favor of it and wanted it to happen. And you know, it's a facility that I'm never going to use. I'm never going to go water sliding. You know, I wouldn't want to, or use this facility. But it's, when you live in a community, you pay taxes and you pay for things that make the community better, whether you're going to use it or not. I'm not going to use the ball diamonds. I don't play ball. But I supported that. The spray parks, I supported all those things. I'm supporting the spray park that's going into Midtown. Am I ever going to use that? Absolutely not. But it makes our community better. And that's what this project's going to do. Is that phase 1 is going to make our community so much better, especially having our own swimming pool, as I said previously, where we can control and we can book and we can use it during school hours so that people that are not working, seniors can use it. And then after school, that's when your swimming lessons will go on. And the children of Prince Albert will be able to get into swimming lessons, no problem. With respect to the borrowing 118 million, we didn't borrow 118 million for this project. And we don't have 2 million left in our capacity to borrow. So we need to stop, I think, and stop spreading misinformation. As Councillor Edwards said, stop comparing it to Lacole Falls. When I hear people comparing it to Lacole Falls, I laugh. I'm just thinking, my gosh, I wish you would have been in history classes where you would understand history and not make up and all these ideas about the history of Prince Albert when you have absolutely zero understanding on it. When I read on social media, and I'm hearing one person that I know is running in the next election, comparing it to, or I've heard is running, is comparing it to Lacole Falls. I can't wait till that person starts putting it in literature and in his campaign, because I will set the record straight. I don't plan on seeking re-election at all next time, but I'm definitely going to support these projects that the city is doing to move forward. And it's a really good project. And as I said, we've got to stop as council, and as we will have our little naysayers out there, but they can say what they want. They tried a year ago to do all this stuff against the city, and they failed miserably. They spent a ton of money campaigning against the city, campaigning against this project, campaigning against the police budget, campaigning against the city budget, calling for forensic audits. They didn't have a clue what they were doing, and I'm glad they failed miserably and embarrassed themselves. And that's what's going to happen to people that continue to spread misinformation about this project. You're embarrassing yourself, and we need to stop. We need to come together as a community and support the project. The project's a year away from opening, roughly a year away from opening, and we can't stop it now, and we got to continue to go forward on it. And whether you support it or not, you're still welcome to use the facilities. Everybody will be welcome to use the facilities. Even those naysayers from a year ago, they'll be welcome to use the facility. And we need, as Councillor Kilmer also said, that you don't get everything right, and we have to change things as you build, and that's what's happening or has happened. And the funding, as I said, when you say we only got $6 million this year, but 20 million is already, or whatever it is, already been committed. And as I said once before, and as other people said, it's committed over 5 years. I know when the St. Mary High School project was being built, it was $15 million in 2005. Today it would be worth $45 million. And I know we did a fundraising, and that's exactly what it is. People paid over 5 years. So they raised a whole bunch of money for the project, but over 5 years, people committed. Our family did that. Over 5 years, we committed an amount of money, and where we could each contribute to it. And so that's how fundraising is done for big projects, and it's normal, and we need to move forward and support this. So thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. I guess I have a few questions about the fundraising committee. Are they still working on this fundraising?
Yes.
And so I asked a few people, I was out and about this weekend, and I asked a few people if they heard anything about it, and just regular folk, So I hope they're not just concentrating on business and other things, and the advertising and promotion of other people will find out about donating to the project, because nobody's heard about it that I've talked to. So, there's just everyday people.
It's phased. They will probably be in the last phase. The biggest phase is, well, do you want to go talk to someone that's going to give you 10 million, Councillor Miller?
Well, no, I just remember the
So-
Rawlinson Center having a fundraising committee, and every week they had something blurred out about the situation.
Once we
so-
start that campaign.
Absolutely
with the
nobody has heard about it.
Phase 2,
So-
they'll know about it.
So they're still working for us then.
Yep.
Okay. Another thing, what concerns me is we're not even into the overage of the project yet, and I'm a little concerned about that. And so are a few other people in our city. So I guess our city needs to come up with a few things to say to the public, you know, to ease their minds on the overages that haven't happened yet. And if they are going to happen or not, we don't know. And
So then why would
another-
you make that statement if you don't know?
And another thing, so we haven't made any decisions on, you know, the old buildings we have, like the Stewart Arena and what we're going to do with that yet, and close it down or not. We haven't decided that as a council yet, and I think we need to do that sooner or later, because, you know, operations are expensive, and I don't know how much the operations there or the operations over there are going to do to our city budget. And as well, I guess, Mayor Dion, I would like to know, when are you going to sit down with the RMs to ask for a donation towards the yard?
My
And
office
the
is
projects.
my office is always open. I've talked to the RMs. So my office is always open for them to come and talk to me.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. And I guess another thing I'm a little bit disappointed in is the green initiatives. And I know that we have windows and insulation going in. And also the Zambonis are green initiative as well. But it's a little bit disappointing that there's no other green initiatives like geothermal or solar or anything in the projects at all. And I just feel that money's left on the table from the federal government with their green initiative funds. And it will be no surprise, absolutely no surprise, that I will be voting against this, because I voted against the 30 million as well.
And I just want to thank you because you just jogged a memory for me. Just so you know that this 5-year window for the new councillors, just so you know the 5-year window that we're suggesting was used for the Rawlinson Centre, was used for the soccer centre, and it was used for the Outhouser Centre. So it's nothing new to us. We did it for the Rawlinson Centre, we did it for the soccer centre, and we did it at the Outhouser Centre, where we give people the opportunity to pay it over 5 years. So those are 3 very successful projects that we did with this model, and that's why we have so much faith in this model. Councillor Solomon.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll keep my comments brief. So thank you to the public and my colleagues who've shared their thoughts on this important issue. $18 million is a lot of money, and I don't stand up here thinking this is a light decision. That's certainly something the public has the expectation that we're going to consider this very delicately and very strongly. So, and I don't think it's an easy decision, but I do support the project. I've supported the project from the beginning. I'm not impressed with having to borrow the money. You know, when I thought this project was a go, or when it was a go, I thought the majority of the financing was in place. The 30 million was kind of the end of it. However, in my other life, when I work with the service club that I do, I know we finance projects over multiple years, whether it was the skate park, the water slides, the pickleball courts, the ball diamonds, all of those things, we make contributions, and that helps our club out in terms of donating money back to the community to serve the greatest needs. So I'm certainly aware of that funding model, and something that our business community certainly uses as well. So, you know, some of my questions were answered. Is there any other options? And really, you know, either we borrow the 18 million or we stop. Stopping is not an option. That's just can't happen. So what would happen then is it would be at the Coal Falls. It would sit there as a building that would rot, and that's not where we need to go with this when we're so close to the finish line. So as much as I don't want to borrow the money, I do have the confidence in the business community and the residents of the city that they will come to the table and they will support the fundraising for this project. I know that this is just bridge financing. We're not actually looking to incur this debt long term, and for that reason I will support the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Zepp.
Thank you. Question for the Director of Finance. My understanding is that we previously had a debt limit as a city of $75 million as our debt limit. In recent years, we as City Council applied to the Saskatchewan Municipal Board to increase our debt limit to $120 million. If this motion passes, what do we have left between where we would be at for debt up to our limit of $120 million?
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lennox for the question. I don't have those numbers on me, but I would have to check and get back to you.
Okay, so what I have from our report is that we're at, that we would be at $115.6 million of carrying debt. And that, I just take that from today's report. So my subtraction is we would have $4.4 million of debt availability left. It's a real concern that if we do have an emergency or other needs, that's what we've already applied to the Saskatchewan Municipal Board to increase that debt limit to a large amount of $120 million, and we're getting very close up to that ceiling. Thank you.
Don't put your light off. Now, included in that 120, so she understands this, we do have an emergency fund of an overdraft. Is it 12 million? 12 million. Oh, sorry.
Thank you for the question. Yes, it is 12 million.
Okay, so we have our protection. Thank you. Councillor Cody.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. Quite a conversation we're having here today over really not a whole lot. And not to suggest 18 million isn't a lot of money, because it is, but you know, bridge financing is done all the time. Let's face it, when you are getting large donations, maybe 10 million, 5 million, or whatever have you, you don't expect that they're going to pay the whole thing at 1 year. You know, it's all got to do with their tax operation that they go through. So over the 5 years, all we're doing is just backstopping the fact that they've given us, let's say, $10 million, and they're going to do over 5 years, and we're going to backfill that portion, and that's only just good business. I mean, that's just wise financing is what it is, and you have to do it that way. It can't be done any other way. What's really disturbing here today is when I hear, in all due respect, that now here we should stop this project when it's just about ready to cut the ribbon. Where does this come from? Where does this come from? You know, I can recall, and I'm an old dog, as you know, and I can recall in the 1970s when they were building big buildings, the likes of the Art Center in Regina and the TCU in Saskatoon. And at the time, what the city fathers did, they said, we're going to stop those projects. We don't have any more money. And the government of the day wouldn't give them any more money. It was an old Liberal government, is the fact. And they wouldn't give them any more money. So we stood there with a whole bunch of monkey bars. They were all monkey bars all over the place in Saskatoon and in Regina. And as a matter of fact, we were building a little hall in Tway, Saskatchewan. And they stopped the thing because they had no more money. But what good was that, to stop a little building that was going to be the town's pride of a hall in a little place like Tway, Saskatchewan, or the big centers for Saskatoon and Regina? Well, the new government came along in 1971, and what we said is, look, we can't leave this sit here. We have to continue building, and they did. Now, did it cost us extra money? You better believe it cost us extra money, because some people decided, let's stop the project. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and I would never, ever agree to stopping this project. Look at these projects here are going to be the envy of the country. There's no question about it. Those two arenas, that aquatic center is going to be envy of the country. And once we get lined up with those, and once we build the big center, sure, it's 4,500 seat arena, but that is an entertainment center. We will be on the circuit. We'll have the circuit coming from Winnipeg to Saskatoon to Regina, Prince Albert, Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver. That's what it'll be. We will be in the spotlight after that. Where are we today? Our biggest building basically is the Rawlinson Center for 615 people. Or you can get the exhibition center and probably put 700 in. It's a necessity. We need these things. And plus the fact, if we don't build the big arena, you're going to lose the Raiders. We'll lose the Raiders. I don't think we want to do that either. I think that would be a catastrophe if we lost our Raider team. We've got a great organization there, and I think we owe it to them as a leasee. They're not going to be the whole deal, but they're going to be a leasee of the building. So I'm certainly not one who likes to spend a lot of money, and frivolously, particularly frivolously. This is not frivolous money. And this is not money being spent because we are over budget. We are on budget, if not under budget, and we're on time. We're not borrowing this money because we need more boards or we need more concrete. We're borrowing this money to backfill for the donations that we're going to get, and we should be so thankful to the organizations who I know already have committed that we will get those donations. And if we can't do it this way, the donations may not come at all. So I'm fully in favor of this, and I think we need to proceed. And I think another thing that's very damaging to us is we continuously talk about this and make this look as though this is a real bad project. Mm-hmm. And the public listens to some councillors, albeit they shouldn't, because some of the facts aren't there. And some of the facts that they try and espouse are wrong. And we need to straighten those things out from time to time. And I think the time has come. We should pull together as a team. Let's pull together as a team. Let's pull together with this administration who's done a great job for us. Let's all pull together and get the thing done and be proud of it. That's what I'd like to do. I want to be proud of a project like this here because it's a dandy project. It's a good project. It's on budget, albeit the budget is higher than we thought, but it's on budget and on time, and I look forward to the opening.
Okay, I'm prompting the question. Questions now open. And carried. Thank you. Next item, 11.5, 2023 audit engagement letters. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll move that the following engagement letters between the city and MNP LLP be approved. The audit of the annual consolidated financial statements of the city for the year ending December 31st, 2023, and the audit of the financial information consisting of the municipal annual expenditure report of the city as at December 31st, 2023, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the letters of engagement letters on behalf of the city.
Second there, Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll second that motion, yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? See no one in the queue, I'll prompt the question. Questions now open and carried. Thank you. 11.6 SaskTel Communication Tower Support in Principle. Councillor Cody.
Yes, Your Worship, I will move that move the administration's recommendation that the following three proposed locations for new communication towers be supported in principle. 1, Miller Hill Park, near the drainage channel. 2, SaskTel Customer Service Center at 1200 6th Avenue East. And the next one, number 3, is Kinsman Park.
Okay. Thank you. A seconder, please. Councillor Edwards?
Second that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion? Councillor Zepp?
So this is a SaskTel initiative. They are asking us as City Council to support in principle their locations. SaskTel indicates that only after this vote will they perform their public consultation. I would much prefer to have seen and heard SaskTel's public consultation before we vote on these locations. There may be good reasons for these locations, there may be poor reasons for these locations, and there may be impact to our citizens for these locations. So for that reason, I won't be supporting this at this time, but I would have liked to have seen that public consultation happen before we vote on the support in principle.
Okay, and just so you know, we won't be voting on the approval. They don't need our approval. They're just being courtesy here and letting us know when they're going to do the public consultation.
And wanting us to support it.
Okay, anyone else? Hearing none, I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. And carried. Thank you. 11.7, memorandum of agreement with the firefighters. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that the memorandum agreement between the city and the International Association of Firefighters, Local 510, be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute any agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Miller?
Yep, I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you. I see no questions. I'll prompt the vote. The vote's now open. And it carries. Just before we leave this, I'd like to thank our administration, and I'd really like to reach out and thank the firefighters. If you remember, they were filed and going to take us to arbitration. But after we went through the last rounds of negotiations, they realized the position we were in, and they returned back to the table, and both parties would be able to settle. So I want to thank them for understanding the situation we're in today and stepping up and doing the right thing. Number 12, unfinished business, we have none. Mayors and councillors forum. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to do a shout out to the PA Optimist Volleyball Club. Over the weekend, we had a SAS Cup tournament held in Warman, Saskatchewan, which involved 28 teams from around the province. We had 4 of them from Prince Albert, and I want a big shout out to and thank you to the coaches, to the parents, to all involved. It was a lot to get this tournament in order, and definitely want to do also a congratulations to the under U13 and Fuego team for winning silver medal.
Thank you. Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple items here. First, I want to congratulate Striker Zablocki. She's a female hockey player, and she was selected to the Team Canada U18 World Championship. She was the only player from Saskatchewan to be selected to play in that tournament. She's a resident of Prince Albert and of Ward 5, and they ended up winning bronze medal at that tournament. So congratulations to Striker. I think this is just the beginning for her in female hockey, which is really good to see. Second one is I want to just wish all staff in schools a happy Staff Appreciation Week this week. I really appreciate staffs and the public supporting their collective agreement right now and supporting supports for the classroom. And apparently they went to negotiations today with the government and trustees, and they scheduled day 2 bargaining tomorrow. So that's good news there. Third, I just want to just give a huge shout out and just information to public about Rose Garden Hospice. It's a facility in Prince Albert that deals with palliative care, which means end-of-life care for people that go to that facility. It's a beautiful facility. It's supported by the government of Saskatchewan, by Saskatchewan Health Authority. They have large rooms for residents, or guests they call them, to stay. Family can stay overnight. They have hide beds in the facility, and they provide excellent care to the resident that's in the facility, keeping them pain-free and knowing that they're going to die. And they give a lot of support to families as well in that facility. And it's a great addition to our community, and it costs a bed in there costs it's free to go as well. People think that you have to pay to go. It's free. It's covered by, as I said, Saskatchewan Health Authority, and the cost of a bed in Rose Garden is half the cost of a palliative care bed in the hospital. So, and the care, I'm not saying, I don't know what the care is like in a hospital, but the care in that Rose Garden is absolutely phenomenal. They have house moms, they have nurses, care aides, etc. And I had experienced it in the last month. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the staff of that facility and to the dreamers. You know, I think it's the Dashtik family, and it took, along with other people, took 10, 12 years to get that facility finally built, and great addition to our community. Palliative care has been around for about 35 years in Prince Albert. They had a palliative care team, and they used to do palliative care in a home, and this becomes the home. You know, I know when my mom was admitted and we told her you're going to Rose Garden, her response was, that sounds like a beautiful facility. She loved flowers, so it is a beautiful facility. So just a big shout out to them. Lastly, just I wanted to mention that I was told that the new hotel in the Yard District had 4 BC-based WHL teams when they come out here every second year that booked into that hotel. And so, as Councillor Cody mentioned, we don't want to lose the Raiders. The Raiders add about $9 million in revenue to the community. I think it's somewhere around $9 or $11 million. That was a couple of years ago when they did an impact of a WHL team in a community. That's what it provides. And so we don't want to lose that $9 or $11 million business. And this business here, this hotel, is one of the beneficiaries, which we also are because of the Destination Marketing Fund. So it's a great facility as well, addition to our business community. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. I wanted to shout out to the Special Olympics Prince Albert, who hosted the floor hockey tournament at Carleton this weekend. And there were 6 teams, and including 80 athletes and 15 coaches that attended. It was a great success, and Prince Albert teams won silver and bronze, and I heard everybody enjoyed the evening with the little dance at the end. So it's a good evening, and the whole day I had my little darling with me, so you know, I was there for about a half an hour each game. And Councillor Salmonite was there as well, so it was good to see.
Yeah, and what a facility. Whew. Councillor Zepp.
I wanted to thank the organizers of the PA Winter Festival. The kickoff with the Tux and Tubes Gala was excellent and was really enjoyed by many as well. They have many events going on in the upcoming days for PA Winter Festival, but some that I wanted to highlight is on Family Day. There is the sliding day at Kinsman, at Little Red River Park, I should say. And that's a really important day that lots of families in our community really benefit from. And as well, we have the fireworks at the Art Hauser Center, also during PA Winter Festival, and the trade show that goes on as well at the Alfred Jenkins Center, and many more, but those are some to highlight. And it's a really great event, a gem in our community, and I just wanted to remind people that it is coming up.
Councillor Cody.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, the Winter Festival is on. I went to the Country North show the other night, and as a matter of fact, I went twice. And it was great both nights, and we had some great entertainers there. And my God, those guys can play those instruments like you wouldn't believe. Our colleague's son was there, and he did a good job of singing with the best of them. So, also just want to advise the folks that on March the 6th, I'm having a town hall meeting in the east end of the city. And it's very close to you as well, Councillor. It's going to be at the East End Hall. So at 7 o'clock, we'll have speakers there from the administration here, which we thank them for. And anyone else that wishes to come from administration, feel free to come and be there. And I'm sure you'll have a question or two. I think it'll be fairly lively, and we're hoping that the people come out and support it so that we can get the questions answered that they ask us. So it's on March the 6th, 7 o'clock at East End Hall.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to jump back to Councillor Miller because she forgot something.
Thank you,
Make her
Mayor
announcement,
Dion.
and I'll come to you, Councillor.
Also, I'm having a ward meeting as well at the Bernice Saï Center on March 7th at 7 o'clock. And guest speaker is the police chief and someone else from the city. I'm not too sure, but we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Solomon.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've also had an opportunity to get out to some of the Winter Festival activities. Tux and Tukes, as my colleague mentioned, was fantastic. I've gone, 5 or 6 times over the last number of years, and this year didn't disappoint either. It certainly is the highlight for me of the year in kicking off the Winter Festival and those things. So if you haven't gone, it's well worth your time to do so next year. Also on Friday night, I was able to attend the Man Art Gallery, and of course, the mayor was chasing me around to all the events on the weekend, I think. But anyway, that was also very well done. There's a number of award winners, 20 in total. I won't mention all of them. But if the display is still up, so if you haven't gone, please take some time to go see all those wonderful things as well. And I did see Councillor Miller at the special event at Carleton on the weekend. And I was going to talk about hosting the 6 teams and all that, but I'll just talk about what a wonderful facility that actually is.
Yes.
We're so fortunate to have that in our city. Every time I walk in and you see the young people competing, you just see the pride, you see the dignity, you see the respect, and of course we know without the facilities we can't have those things. So it's great to have a lot of options in the city, and that's one of the premier ones as well. So thank you.
Thank you. So I'm just going to add to yours because I was at all those events with you, and thank you all. But I'd like to remind everyone the art show is still up. It'll be up for the next, I think, 5 to 6 weeks, and it's actually a sale. All those items that are on display now, unless they have a red dot on them, are for sale. If there's a red dot, that means they've already been sold. And so if you're looking for that unique piece, whether it's a sculpture, there's fabric there, there's Play-Doh, there's all kinds of fabric, canvas. There's just some great work there, and all from local artists. So if you need a piece or you're looking for a gift, that's a great place to go and pick up a gift from a local artist, and that shows support. So thank you for that. Okay, number 14, inquiries. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I got a couple today. So the first is, and I think I've asked this already, I get contacts from the residents in the 300 block of 6th Street about the bus stop. So where it currently sits, we would like to see it moved onto the avenue. It's just right around the corner, just a simple move because of some of the area it's sitting in. That's an unpaved road, and it's just a big mess every time there's a spring runoff or we get some nice weather. So once again, I guess I'm asking administration, on behalf of the residents in that area, can we find an alternative place for that bus stop? So I'd like to leave that.
And what was the address again, sorry?
It's right on the corner of 4th Avenue and 6th Street. So it's right around the corner. It's on the street. We would like to see it on the avenue.
Okay.
So it's just a little bit of a move there.
Okay.
And you would have received some emails from residents about that one as well. So, so there's that one. And I had I got a call from a couple residents actually about, that's why in the last motion I put together a motion about incentives. So what are we going to do about the properties that we're finding standing with no attention to them? So people live and rent houses, and next door to them there's maybe a landowner that doesn't live in the community or doesn't put much attention to that house. How do we encourage people to fix their up? Now we know we have the property amenities, but by law, of course. But you know, I'm waiting to see from this incentive program. Maybe there's something in there.
Yep.
But I guess that's another one I leave here tonight. We would like to see something in place that would address some of those houses and some of the delinquents of those houses.
Yeah, and they're working on that project. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Councillor Edwards.
Thanks, Your Worship. I would just like administration to put in writing officially some of the increases that the police have received from council over the years. And it's more just to make sure it gets out there and in writing and facts here are some numbers. And I hope that we can put this forward into the next council meeting. But in 2019, City Council approved an increase to the police budget of $236,090. That was a 1.44% increase in 2019. 2020, City Council approved an increase to the police budget of $495,580. That was a 2.97% increase to the overall police budget. 2021, $154,490 increase to the police budget, and that was a 0.9% increase. I'll keep going. 2022, $467,000, 2.70% increase. 2023 saw a $531,560 increase to the police budget. But 2024 is where it gets complicated because it keeps getting reported, and again, many of the social media warriors keep saying that the City Council cut the police budget. Well, that's not fact. The fact is the police budget went up $759,263. That's an increase in their budget. It's 4.14% increase. That's the largest increase that the police service has seen, and I supported it. The largest over those years, I said, so 5 years. Probably the largest it's seen in 10 years. But what's out in the community is false, that City Council cut the budget. No, we didn't approve the $1.5 million request that the police board came forward with. But what we did approve was, and I'm going to say it again, and I hope it gets reported, an increase of 4.14%, $759,263 increase to the police service. So I'm hoping that we can bring those numbers forward, make it official on a City Council budget, or not on a budget, on a document in the inquiry process. I'll put my inquiry in so we see those numbers because, again, it was a large increase that they received. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 15.1, inquiry responses. Oop, Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just rising about the inquiry 2402.
I have to get a motion first and seconder, and then I'll ask for questions.
Okay.
Sorry. Councillor Miller?
That the inquiry responses be received as information filed, and I have questions as well.
Okay, seconder? Thank you. Back to Councillor Miller.
Yes, so I'd like to thank the Department of Public Works for putting the flashing crossing walk in. I just noticed a couple of mornings, there's still, some of them are flashing for no reason. Mm-hmm. Does that happen?
It happens to me too on
15th Avenue, I've seen it there too.
It's not supposed to, but he'll tell you. Oh. Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Councillor Miller, for the inquiry. I'll reach out to the traffic and transportation manager, just to let him know that you've raised that as a concern. I don't think that flashing for no reason would be a normal operation for those units, so.
Okay,
we'll look
thank
into
you.
it.
Just a follow-up question. It was one flashing or were they both?
They were both flashing, but on 15th Avenue, there was one.
Yeah. We'll give you that one because the other one's got to be out. Because I thought both flashed together. Okay. Councillor Head.
Thanks, Your Worship. Okay, so my question is about inquiry 2402. The Director of Community Services states that the responsibility is of the homeowner. So the question was, do we clean the section of sidewalk where the path ends and again begins? Now I get it, it's part of the sidewalk, but it is also part of our walking trail. We pride ourselves on a trail and we cleared it diligently up until we get to the sidewalk. And I guess over the years I've gotten calls from the residents, why are we stopping there? Why? This is the trail carries on. Doesn't end at the sidewalk. People don't just turn around and head the other way. We carry on and slog through the snow, slush. So can we make it a part of the regular cleaning in that area when we do the trail? Yes, it's part of our sidewalk, but it is also part of the rotary trail. So I guess whether I need to make a motion to include that into the process or include that into the trail cleaning, so be it, or we add it into the budget item. I don't know what we need to do, but we'd like to see that trail cleaned as the trail of the rotary trail cleaned as well. So, so I'm not asking anything more, just that we clean the sidewalk.
City manager will answer.
Yeah, so as it's noted, there is no budgetary allocation approved for that type of service. So if it is something you wanted added, we would have to add that as a budget to come out of fiscal stabilization for this year, as it wasn't in the budget. There is additional situations with the cleaning of that sidewalk. The machines that we use to clean Rotary Trail couldn't be used to clean the sidewalk because they're not the same width. The sidewalk is a smaller width, so we would have to look at alternate measures. In addition, we have a procedure right now that when we clean the streets of snow, we actually use a third of the sidewalks as for snow. In that case, we would actually have to do snow lifts in that area and that would be an increase to the budget as well. So it would be a substantial increase to the budget and that we don't have in place at the moment.
And it's also a school zone there as well, good point. So, so your suggestion then is to bring it to a notice of motion, which is the next item on the agenda, so I will go ahead and notice the motion to include that in the budget.
Okay. I'm going to prompt the question. And questions open. And carried. Thank you. Okay, number 16, notice of motions. Oh. Sorry. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Worship. I'm going to make a motion that we include the section of sidewalk where the trail ends and starts again. I don't know exactly the street, 4th Street from 500 block to 2nd Street would be the 200 block, I guess. Don't quote me on those exact, but that's where the trail needs to be addressed. So I'll make a notice of motion to do that, to include that into our daily routine.
Okay. Can I suggest you ask for a report on the costs and everything to come back to council and we can vote on it at that time? Like it doesn't affect you, all it's changing your motion is directing them to come up with the costs, the reasons why, and then bring it back for us for the approval. We have to get the amount for the budget.
Fair enough, and I would assume that there's money in the budget because of the lack of snow we're having there, so I don't think it'd be a problem for this year. But I get there may be some challenges in the coming years as well. Yeah, I think I'll leave that motion. I don't know if we need to generate a report. I mean, I know we're doing snow lifts as requested, so maybe we just request that it be lifted when we're doing the trail. Like I don't know what the process would be.
Well, as you mentioned, why I want to report is I want to hear what the challenges were. I want to confirm them that, from the city manager. And also, we do need to know the cost, because as you heard, it's going to be quite a bit higher. It's not the sweeper continuing on. They have to bring other equipment down there and do a lift because it's a narrow sidewalk.
But
So,
they don't use our Bobcat? I know we got several of those. We don't use those there? Sure, I guess if it needs to have a report, I just want to get that sidewalk cleaned.
yep, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, none. Motions, number 18, no one registered. Number 19, Councillor Kilmer.
I'll move that this council do now adjourn.
Seconder? Councillor Bowden?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll second the motion.
Okay, I'll prompt the question. Good meeting, everyone. Thank you. Be safe. It's still slippery out there. And it's open. And we're adjourned. Thank you very much.